Paul putting Julie and I together. She talks and I talk more, but we'll get on.
I don't even know what to begin with, but my journey really started again. I was at church as a little girl in a wee place called Comertrees, where I loved the wee quaint church. It's in the middle of nowhere, and I loved Jesus. I loved the Bible, and I learned to be able to recite the whole Bible primary school age. I kind of veered off from the Lord and the Bible and Jesus and everything. And I got lost, actually. A few things happened in my life, and I ended up very, very lost, and actually never actually couldn't see a future ahead. I'd rebuilt myself a few times. There had been quite a few things that had happened, devastating things, but through strength, and I don't know, I rebuilt myself and then got knocked down again, and I just could not pick myself back up again. For a good few years I was in darkness, real darkness, and I shut myself away from the world and was in fear, absolute fear. And then I started something within, I don't know, I just started talking to myself, saying, actually, you have to pick yourself back up again. You have to, life, you're losing out on life. It has to come from inside you somewhere. And I handed out my Bible, and around that time I had went to a meeting, and then I met Tina, and the next thing I'm at the Winning Women group, and the rest is history. I then moved on to Glenaros, and absolutely every moment there was just, I've never really looked back since then, and they've become such my family, and I didn't trust him. I'd lost all my trust, and I've grown to love and care for every one of them. I love you, and I really, this is
Okay, do you want to read that scripture?
And the scripture that just came to my mind, it was Moira kindly gave me some furniture for, I'm about to move out of that horrible flat that I've hated for such a long time. And when Moira gave me a lovely unit, and inside was a plaque with a scripture on it. And it was, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And that's Philippians 4:13.
Hallelujah. Bless you. Well done. Okay, will we swap over?
Yeah.
Okay. I will continue Julie's amazing, life-transforming story. The scripture that for both, and Jamie, this is a privilege, where is it gone? This has been a privilege because I've known Jamie all this time. When he was in his mother's womb, I knew this young man. And to be here today with Jamie and Julie, obviously. So in Isaiah 43:18 and 19, behold, the two of you, I am doing new things, the old has passed, and the new has come through faith in Jesus. So just to kind of just fill you in a wee bit on Julie and I meeting, and it was God who brought us together. Because over 20 years now, I worked for Women's Aid. And through my work, I was a support worker, and Julie was allocated to me as someone to get alongside her and her wee boy at that time. She was going through a really hard time, and so I got alongside her. So then, over 20 years ago, our paths crossed. Little did we know what God had in planned for the future. And then, a year and a half ago, Julie came to Winning Women, which for people who don't know, is an outreach that I do for women who are feeling lost, lonely, or broken-hearted. So Julie walked through the door and I'm looking at her and I'm thinking, I know that face. But you know, we're talking 22 years ago. So I'm looking at her and I went over and I said, could I speak to you for a minute? And she said, yeah. I says, do I know you? And I said, who are you? And she went, I'm Julie. And I went, Julie from, well, it was Lochmaben at that time. I said, how's your wee boy? And she says, it's 2017, he's not a wee boy anymore. But that was us connected, wasn't it? And so then what happened, Julie continued to come to the Women Outreach, and our friendship began. And then Julie started coming to church at Glen Aris, where she felt loved by, you know, all the people there. Everybody just loves Julie. And then there was an Alpha course advertised here in the Baptist church, and that is for anybody who's wanting a wee bit more about what does Christianity mean. So Julie and I and Audrey, we three of us came along. And, you know, again, the people there loved Julie and just showed her this unconditional love. And that, you know, really won her over. And so, God gave me a verse when I was getting alongside Julie for the second time in life, and it was in Galatians 6, verse 9. And it was God speaking to me, and he's saying, and let us not grow weary in doing good, for in due season you will reap a harvest in due time, if you persevere and do not give up. This is where I'm going to cry. Because Julie struggled at the beginning. I would go for Julie, and she wouldn't be there. And, you know, God said, Tina, don't give up on Julie. And so if Julie wasn't there, I didn't go away, you know, sad. I thought, God, a harvest is coming for Julie's life, and I know for me it's a privilege. And I didn't give up, and it's been a blessing and a privilege to see this young woman grow in confidence. She was a shy, quiet, you talk now, don't you? She's learned from the best, she says. You know, her and I have that joke. Anyway, she's grown in confidence, and she's shaken the past off her, and she's pressed into God. And, you know, and for me, and here we are today, she's getting baptized, she gave her heart to the Lord, she did everything that Phil's saying that which she had to do, and she knew she needed baptized, and this is what she's done. So Julie, I'm proud of you, and thank you for being my friend.
Thank you so much.
Oh, bless you.